everyone. Thanks for joining us here on Sportsnite. I'm your host, Parker Gatewood. Pleased to be joined by Tommy Mantice and Dusitn Levi. Thanks for being here, guys.
It's a pleasure. I look forward to this every week, Parker.
I'm pleased to be here. It's my first time, so this is going to be great. I'm ready to talk sports.
Absolutely. And talk sports we will, so let's just dive right into it. Valpo has a extremely important two-game stretch coming up, and that is between them and Wright State, at Wright State, and then at the Arc against Cleveland State. I want to know what you guys are thinking about these last two games and what essentially is going to happen. How's the season going to end?
Well, it looks good for the Crusaders in my point of view. I think they have a really good shot of getting the 2 seed. They are playing this Wright State team that nobody scores or averages more than 10 points a game. There's like 5 guys who do it. There isn't really a superstar on the team. So you can take advantage of that. I think you can go with different rotations, play a lot of guys. And I think they look great. I mean, even though it's on the road, Wright State is a very attainable game that they could win. And then they go up against Cleveland State, who right now is the 2nd seed, but they're at home. And I think that's a huge part of that. If they can get this Wright State victory, I think it's going to be they have a really good shot of getting that Cleveland State victory as well and then getting that 2nd seed.
Well, I think Valparaiso has a great chance of winning these last 2 games. I mean, they've played well up to this point. They played great in conference play. You know, they've hit a rhythm somewhat. Wright State, even though they do it by committee, I think that Valpo has more talent on offensive side. They rebound great. They've been playing well. They're shooting the ball well. So I think they have a great chance to beat Wright State. And the Cleveland State game, I think is going to be tough, but I believe we can pull it off because it is at home and we'll have the momentum, and I think we can really get the 2nd seed.
And now, Tommy, something that you mentioned a little earlier, talking about how Wright State does not have that star player who scores the majority of the points for the team. But when you look at this Wright State team, guys, this is a team that only allows 62.5 points to their opponents. How big of a challenge is that going to be for Valpo going into this game, knowing that they have to score to win this ballgame?
Well, it's huge. I mean, when you have guys who only average 10 points a game, that means your defense is really good. And the Crusaders have really struggled to score offensively. That's been a big thing. I mean, look at last night, or a few nights ago, they go up against Green Bay, and Levante Doherty has 9 points. And, guys that really haven't produced as much as we would like haven't. So what I think they should really do is look inside. Get these guys like Vachil Fernandez and Musa Gay going down low because they have so much size and so much, they have pretty good touch around the basket. I think they can make some points and get the pick and roll, get the pick and roll going. I think that's really important in this one. And that's where you're going to get your scoring because they really haven't had it.
So you're saying get the ball down low to Musa and Vachil, get them going early. Although they have not been too prominent with scoring the basketball this season?
Well, I think you got to switch it up, honestly. There really isn't much that you can. I mean, Alec Peters, although he's a great freshman player, hasn't really stepped up in that 2nd role and done it well. I think Doherty, guys are teaming up on him, and, that's going to leave somebody open. Another big part of it is that, this team likes to hit the threes. I mean, they like shooting threes. They're a big 3-point shooting team. So that's where a lot of their offense comes from. So a great way of countering that and kind of throwing teams off is getting the ball down. Now, I'm not saying, Vachil and Musa Gay each go for, 15 or 20 points. I think that's just way too much. I'm saying get your 10 points for each. Get them down low, get their looks, and, get them to the line. Although, Musa is a better free throw shooter than Vachil. I just think they have to use their size. I think that's so important in this team because they have to look for something else. Offensively, not much is working.
Well, I agree with Tommy. I think the 2 keys is that they have to get off to a fast start because Valpo seems to struggle with fast starts. Sometimes they get off slow and then they mess up their rhythm and they're forced to fight back, which is like it's a hard predicament for anybody to try to fight back every game. And the 2nd key, I believe they have to beat people up inside. Valpo is I think they're leading the conference in rebound differential.
Rebounding margin.
In Wright State's they're a -2, I believe. So it's like I think they have to beat them up inside. I agree with Tommy. You got to beat them up inside. You got to feed the ball in the post. Even though you get to the free throw line and you miss, you get teams in foul trouble.
Yeah, that gets you more opportunities.
And not everybody's bench is as deep as Valpo's. So the more foul trouble you can get other teams into, the better it turns out for you. And I think beating them up inside and fast starts. That's the key for Valpo.
So are we talking, both you guys, wins? That's what we're thinking?
You know, they win out.
Going
Yes,
at Wright State. A
At
win.
Wright State with a win.
I know Wright State beat us. I think they got revenge on that mind. I think they want to rise to the occasion. I think they really want to get revenge and beat Wright State. And I think they're going to beat Wright State, and they're going to come home and beat Cleveland State as well.
And also, I mean, they just saw Green Bay tear the Nets down, and they have winning the #1 seed. So that means a lot to them. Talking with all the players, that means, you know, we've hosted the tournament the past couple of years, and it's a big part of what Valpo does. I mean, that's how good the basketball team has been. So to have them cut them down at Green Bay, you know, they haven't lost them in a while either. I think that really stings with them, you know, and this is the end of the year. So you don't like to lose at the end of the season, but that could be a pretty, you know, significant loss if they can come back and win these next couple of games, which, you know, they have a good shot in both of them.
And Dustin, you mentioned the Cleveland State game upcoming. You said that Valpo is going to win this game as well, and I find that interesting considering Cleveland State is second in the Horizon League at 9-4, and a very smart team. She is best in field goal percentage. It knows the shots to take. Knows it makes the extra pass to get shooters open, does a really good job of that. Third highest scoring team in the Horizon League. Tell me what your thinking is behind the Crusaders winning at home against Cleveland State.
Well, I think just the energy. I mean, the energy at home is going to help them out a lot. I mean, it's the last game of the season. I think when it comes to,
even with students going on spring break.
I mean, yeah, but I think even with that, I think we're still going to get a good support out of it. You know, and it is the last game of the regular season, and I think when it comes to like those one for all games, those one games, like you can throw averages out because the energy is going to be different, the predicament is going to be different. You know, and I think at home, I think we have the advantage, and it's really going to help us out, and I think we're really going to win this game. Yeah. Plus, and did we lose to them earlier in the season? I believe so, and I think just like with Wright State, they're going to have that pit in their stomach. You know, want to get revenge, and they know this is the last game and it's really going to impact the tournament. So I believe that's going to be the key of winning the game.
Yeah, and we just paid Bryce Drew. I mean, Bryce Drew led teams. We've seen him. We've seen him respond each and every time we thought they were out or going to kind of fall into the middle. They responded with great wins, and that's what we're going to see. I mean, when you know that Green Bay loss was tough. I mean, that was a tough loss to have, but every time it seems like they kind of pick themselves up. And I think this is a perfect time for them to do it, especially at, you know, where we're at in the season.
And I think another thing, they have been very clutch. They've played in a lot of close games this conference during conference play. So I don't think this like the Cleveland State game is ever going to be a blowout because you know it's like a one-for-all game and it has a lot of meaning to it. So I believe it's going to be clutch and it's going to be a close game. But I think Valpo's experience in close games is really going to help them out. You know, especially with the freshmen. The freshmen, they're not foreign to close games. You know, we have Clay O hitting a big three against UIC, I believe. So it's like they have experience, and I think they're going to be ready for that game, and they'll be up for it.
So we're talking 2-0 in the final two games for both of you guys.
2-0.
Absolutely. And where does that put Valpo?
They put them at the second seed at that point because if they win out at this point, they would tie, and then the Cleveland State victory would be huge. So mathematically, they would be in the second seed, get a double bye, and then hopefully we'll see Green Bay or somebody else in the championship game in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for the Valpo portion of our show. When we come back, we are going to talk Danny Granger to the Sixers, LeBron versus KD, and then we'll hit you with our sign-offs at the end of the show. So join us here back in a few minutes on Sportsnite.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dick Vitale of ESPN, and I'm on VUTV. It's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
Interested in the television industry? Stop by our office in Schnabel Hall and join VUTV today.
Welcome back to this edition of Sports Night. I'm your host, Parker Gatewood, and guys, we just finished up talking to Valpo sports. Now let's dive into the NBA. Let's talk about the big trade that happened over the trade deadline, a very shocking one at that. Danny Granger moving from Indiana and the Pacers over to Philadelphia with the 76ers. In return, the Pacers get Levi Allen and Evan Turner. And my question to you guys is, was this a good move for the Pacers? And if so, was it a championship move? Dustin, let's start with you.
I don't think it was a championship move. I think they're pretty much in the same position that they were beforehand. And the reason I say that is because of the style of player that Evan Turner is. Evan Turner is a ball-dominant player, and he's not starting over Lance Stevenson. Lance Stevenson is a wild card, but he's pretty much coming to his own. He's playing great. He's not starting over Lance Stevenson. So he's going to be coming off the bench. And I don't think that he's going to be able to get the ball enough in order to be effective. I mean, he's averaging 17 points a game and shooting 42% from the field. That's not great, and he's been playing on a bad team. He's a mediocre shooter. And as far as off-ball skills, he's been proving that he doesn't have great off-ball skills, and he's not going to have the ball a lot of the times, especially with Paul George and Lance Stevenson and Hibbert and all these other players that have to get the ball before him. So I think he's going to struggle with that, and he might help the bench out a little bit, but not enough to where we honestly believe that they're going to beat the Miami Heat.
Oh, I disagree. I think this is a great trade for the Indiana Pacers. First of all, they give up Danny Granger, who is disappointed with injuries, and that's certainly not his fault. But Danny Granger has not lived up to what they thought. And honestly, I was in the camp that said, if the Pacers had Danny Granger, they had a good chance of beating the Miami Heat. I mean, they were very close last year, went to Game 7. Now you get Danny Granger this year, and he is really not very good, to be very frank. The fourth lowest shooting percentage amongst all small forwards in the NBA. So it's not been good. I mean, you have not gotten the same Danny Granger. So you think about this, and he's making $13 million a year. It's a lot of money. So you think he's making a lot of money, and you're gonna trade him for Evan Turner? I mean, Evan Turner is a really good player, and he hasn't been signed yet. He's going to be a free agent. Evan Turner is a much better basketball player than Danny Granger is right now, and Evan Turner is really going to he's going to push him to another level. I mean, you can play when Lance Stevenson isn't playing. You have Evan Turner out there, and so you really don't give up that much. And although you're going to say you can say that he's a ball dominant player. He's shooting the ball on a bad team. He's been on a bad team throughout his entire career. I mean, we can go back into when they beat us in the playoffs and Derrick Rose got hurt. I mean, they weren't a very good team. They were not a good team, and yet he was still on that team. So when you get a guy who hasn't been on a good team and you put him on a good team, usually, I mean, there's a type of chemistry that your game changes because it's a different atmosphere. I think that's what's going to happen with Evan Turner. He's not like this old guy who's going to come in and kind of be like, oh, it's all about me, I'm going to dominate the ball. No, this is a young guy, and he's really got a lot of talent, and he can really, really make it tough for LeBron and the Heat.
I just think, I'm not saying he's going to come in and dominate the ball, but I'm just saying he needs the ball to be effective. He doesn't have great off-ball skills. And I honestly think that this trade is not necessarily for the long term. It's a trade in order to just free up cap space because he is going to be a free agent next year.
Yeah.
Danny Granger was getting paid multiple years. But I think this is just a trade so they can be able to sign Lance Stevenson to a long-term contract. I don't think it's necessarily a trade. I mean, they haven't lost too much, but I think Danny Granger was a better fit for the Pacers because of his shooting ability. I know his play digressed a bit, but Paul George's improvement was it's continued to grow, and George Hill, Roy Hibbert, David West is he's so reliable. So yeah. I think that made up for Danny Granger's digress, but he was still a great shooter. So when he came in, anybody can have a good game when they come in and hit a couple threes, and Evan Turner can't do that for you. Now he has great ball handling skills. He can play make, but he needs the ball to do that, and I don't think he's going to get the ball enough in order to be extremely effective, especially against the speed of the Miami Heat or another defense team like the Bulls or maybe like the Wizards. I don't think he's going to be as effective come playoff time. Yeah,
you're not going to see the same numbers. I agree, but I'm saying when he comes off the bench, like you said, or he might. I mean, we don't know. I mean, Evan Turner, Lance Stevenson. I mean, they're not really you can say they're similar guys, but they're not really. I mean, it's a little different. So I'm saying is that when he comes off the bench, whatever what role he's in, when he comes in with the bench squad, he's a guy who can run the floor. I mean, he's a guy who can come in and really you don't lose much off the bench. Okay, you don't really lose that much when you take Lance Stevenson out or you put in Evan Turner in. You don't lose that much. As in when you put in Danny Granger, I mean, the guy's still not right. And also with the money, like I said, they also have this deal next year where they can either have a decision. They either sign Lance Stevenson or they sign Evan Turner long term. And so when you have that security long term, that would go so far for me. I mean, you can pick and choose who you want to run your team with. And I think Evan Turner, if I'm the Pacers, I would consider heavily Evan Turner. I think that guy is going to be a really good player, really good second or third option in the future. This guy has a boatload of potential, and this move is just great. I'm so excited because I really think at this point that the Heat could go down before the finals.
And that provokes the next question, guys, and that is, although now, Dustin, you said you don't think this is a championship move. Tommy, you're kind of leaning towards it.
Oh, I'm heavily saying that this is a championship move.
It is a championship move.
I'm
So my
heavily
question to you guys is, with Evan Turner and Lavoy Allen coming, more so Evan Turner than Lavoy Allen, but you get the idea. With them coming to Indiana, do the Pacers beat the Heat in the playoffs, and do they get to the finals? I want to know.
Absolutely, they do. There's no doubt.
Oh, no doubt.
There's no doubt right now.
All right.
There's honestly, actually, I shouldn't say that. There is some doubt. But LeBron and Dwayne Wade are huge. They're really good together. It's a big two basically, and then Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh, they use him separately. Disrespect. I know. I understand. No, Chris Bosh is he's found his role. He's done really well. I mean, we haven't seen the same Chris Bosh. Okay, I digress. No, this team is going to be very good. They now have an extra piece that I thought Danny Granger was, or they needed last year to kind of push them over the edge. That is going to be Evan Turner this year. He's going to push them over the edge. They're going to go to the NBA Finals. And we also don't know about Dwayne Wade's health. It always is an issue. We always kind of see that Dwayne Wade hasn't really been 100% in the past couple of years in the playoffs. That could be huge. I mean, honestly, it could be very huge. We'll see on Dwayne Wade's health, but I honestly think I'm elated, man. This is great.
While I do think if they meet in the playoffs, it will be a competitive series, I'm still taking the Heat. I mean, I saw how the Heat played against the Thunder recently. I mean, in the big three, when they're clicking, they're unbeatable. And I don't like the disrespect towards Chris Bosh, man. He, at certain points, has been the best player on the court a lot of times.
He is unbelievable. I know that, but that's just the role he is in, and that's Eric Spoelstra's fault, not so much Chris Bosh.
And D Wade has kicked it in the fifth gear. I know we always criticize him for his health, but when the moment comes, he never shies away from it. Yep. He always plays well. I mean, look at the games last year. Game 7 against the Pacers last year, he had 25. 25 against the Spurs last year in Game 7. Game 4, he had 32 when they were on the road. I mean, Dwayne Wade is a great player, and he always reminds us when a big moment comes up. And another thing, I don't know about Andrew Bynum on the Pacers. What about him? I mean, he's been iffy the past couple of years.
I think he sees playing time?
I don't even think
he hasn't even played yet, and he's been traded for a couple weeks now. I don't know, what is he going to do? Is he going to produce? Is he going to make an impact? And meanwhile, Greg Oden has came back. And Greg Oden is giving you a good 10, 12 minutes. That's all we really need from him if you're a Heat fan or a Heat player or you're a teammate of his, You gotta look at him and see how healthy he's playing. He's playing active. He's playing defense. He's dunking the ball. He hasn't been hurt. They're managing his time well. You haven't talked about that
You say dunking the ball like for a 7-footer, that's impressive, Dustin. I know he's been hurt.
For Greg Oden, it's very impressive.
Tall.
For Greg Oden, it's very impressive.
Every time he goes up for
I've seen him dunk a ball and hurt himself, so he's
exactly.
landing, so everything is fine.
Yeah,
I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only thing. I think they can take him to a 7-game series, but I mean, the Heat are making a push right now, and the Pacers, if they're going to win, they need to have, the number 1 seed. And even if they do have the number 1 seed, I'm not sure that they can beat the Heat still, because I'm fully confident, have full confidence in LeBron going in there with D Wade and taking the game in Indiana. So I just think that the Heat are just too much of a talented team, and I think they're just the best team in the NBA right now. And LeBron is playing at a level that we've rarely seen.
Yeah.
So it's hard against go against them.
Yeah, people have to take into account that LeBron's level has gone even more. I mean, he's playing much better. So that's also another. But I still say they have a really good chance.
With all this being said, when it comes down to it, we all assume that with the weakness, or excuse me, the East being so weak that it's going to be the Heat and the Pacers in the end. There are no other teams that can get there. That's just the assumption that we're going by right now. So
it'll happen.
When it comes down to it, Heat, Pacers, Eastern Conference Finals, who you got, and in how many games? Dustin?
I got the Heat in 6.
You got the Heat in 6.
Heat in 6.
Oh my gosh.
Heat in 6.
I don't know why. Evan Turner is a really. I don't understand why you guys are hating on Evan Turner.
I think you're severely underrating Lance Stevenson.
I'm
Evan Turner
saying-
is
I'm
not
saying
on
you
Lance
can-
Stevenson's
Okay,
level.
exactly. Well, you have 2 of those guys now. You have 2 Lance Stevensons. That makes them better.
No, you do not, my friend.
That makes them better. I don't
Evan Turner is
understand.
not on the level of Lance
How do they
Stevenson.
regress with this trade? How they went to Game 7 last year. How do they regress?
I think
all about matchups. Playoffs are about matchups, my friend.
Exactly.
And he doesn't match up. And Evan Turner is going against the Heat. He hasn't matched up well with them at any point of his career.
Now he's got help though.
But Danny Granger, I think, brought a level of leadership to the Pacers that Evan Turner, you can't get back. Danny Granger was the leader of the Pacers, had the reins, and is so much of a leader that when he was injured and this new Paul George guy comes in, he just handed it over. He said, you know what? This is how we're going to win. This is how we are going to be who we are. And I think that Evan Turner is a bit misleading, Tommy, because Evan Turner averages 17 points a game on a Pacer team who the best player is arguably Michael Carter-Williams, a rookie, and he averages 17 points on 15 shots.
He takes a lot of shots and he misses a lot of shots. But I'm saying he can become more efficient on a better team.
You can't assume
I'm saying
that,
all
though.
this.
You can't assume that.
I can assume. I think honestly that this team. I mean that character, like you said, the leadership. I honestly think that Danny Granger is he's not the leader anymore. He plays what? 15, 20 minutes a game.
He's obviously not the leader anymore.
He's obviously,
He doesn't play for him.
so like getting rid of him. I mean, you trade Danny Granger, it's like it's great for the Indiana Pacers. They get rid of money, and they have a guy who can actually play more than 15 minutes a night and give more contributions off the bench. This trade definitely makes them better. I'm just saying that Evan Turner is a improvement or an upgrade on Danny Granger in terms of health.
What's your playoff pick, Tommy?
I mean, this is so tough for me. I want to say that the Pacers are going to win. I really do. It's going 7. I mean, it's going
pick?
7. We'll have to go with the Heat.
Oh.
Again. And then they'll play the Spurs again.
With all of that talk about Evan Turner, and you
confuses
just-
me, Tommy, because you said it was a championship move.
It's a championship move. But you got the Miami Heat there, and LeBron's playing at another level.
So it wasn't a championship move.
It was a championship move. But you just you're running up against the Miami Heat. It's almost like Michael and all the New York Knicks.
A championship move is making a move
And
that
any other, if
that-
LeBron is in Cleveland, that's a championship move.
But he's not.
Exactly. That's
So
what I'm
it's not a
saying. So it's
championship
like
move.
unfair. It's like Miami Heat. That's how good they are. It's a championship move. It's a great move for the Indiana Pacers with money and with the players and personnel. That's just how good Miami is.
I see where you're coming from. You're saying like pretty much they made a great move.
It's a great move.
And if it wasn't for the Miami Heat being there,
If
they would have a
LeBron is in
championship.
Cleveland and D Wade is still in Miami,
yeah.
it's a
Bottom
championship
line,
move.
great move, not a championship
It's
move.
like in any other era, it's a championship move.
Okay, well,
All
with
right.
that, we are
Like
going
if you
to
make that move,
With that
it's
confusion,
it gets you.
With that confusion, we'll sign it. Go ahead.
All right. Well, with that, we will take a break here on Sportsnite. We will be right back talking Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and a little MVP talk we have upcoming. And then we'll also hit you with our sign-offs later in the show. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. And rejoin us on Sportsnite. Back in a few. Welcome back into Sports Night. I'm your host, Parker Gatewood, and once again with Tommy Mantice and Dusitn Levi. And guys, let's stay on the topic of the NBA. We just got done talking about the Danny Granger trade. We saw some tensions flare here in the studio a little bit. Now I want to see if the same thing will happen with the next topic. The Thunder and the Heat just played recently at Oklahoma City. And the Heat went in there and got the 103-81 win. LeBron finished the game with 33 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. Kevin Durant, 28 of his own on 10 of 22 shooting and 1 of 6 from downtown. So with the big win, my question to you guys, who wins the MVP, Kevin Durant or LeBron James? There was a lot of speculation earlier when Kevin Durant was on fire that he had this thing locked up. And now LeBron has come out and proven that he is back to the old LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Who wins this MVP race? Tommy, let's start with you.
Well, I think Kevin Durant awoke LeBron James a little bit. I think he kind of got him going, got him a little more extra motivation because LeBron scored the first 12 points for the Miami Heat last night, and he has been on fire. It's going to be LeBron's. If he wants it, he can take it. There's not much Kevin Durant really can do. LeBron James is just a better player. He can do it all for you. He's a championship guy, the best player in the world right now. So it's LeBron's to lose at this point. I mean, Kevin Durant can do whatever he wants. I mean, that crazy January he had it was just ridiculous. But LeBron can just match it, and like he did last night, hit a huge win against Oklahoma City. It's LeBron. LeBron will win it.
I'm going the same. I'm going with LeBron. I mean, and
really?
Yeah, I go in the views of like the voters. You know, the voters, they look at these like regular season games as like turning points. You know, because it is a regular season award, and last night was a turning point. LeBron, like obviously, like you look at it, just passing the eye test, he had the advantage last night. He dominated, and he didn't even finish the whole game. Remember, he dunked on Serge Ibaka and he got hurt and was bloodied. And Twitter went crazy. So
sure.
I mean, LeBron is the better player. You know, the Heat on the road right now. In the last 10 games, he's averaging 37 points a game on 68.5% true shooting. You know, so he stepped his play up. He had a 42-point game in Dallas a couple nights ago. So he's like looking like the old LeBron, like Cleveland LeBron. You know, and I think with Kevin Durant, you have to think about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a wild card. You know, Westbrook, when he's healthy, is a top 10 player. He makes the Thunder a better team, but he takes shots away from Durant. And I believe when people were talking about Durant, like in that January, his aggression level was at like a level we've never seen before. And that's because that's like one of the only times where he's able to play without Westbrook for an extended period of time. Now, when Westbrook comes back, not necessarily saying it's a bad thing for the team, but as far as MVP chances for Kevin Durant, it kind of diminishes it a little bit because Westbrook's going to take a lot of shots. His first game last night, I mean, he was very aggressive. You know, he looked great. You know, I'm glad he's back, you know, because he's an exciting player, top 10 player.
But didn't take the shots he normally takes
for
this team.
Exactly. He was just attacking the basket well. Played great defense as always. But, you know, I just think he's going to hurt Kevin Durant's chances because Kevin Durant is not going to be able to shoot the ball and have the green light that he had all through January. So I think that's going to impact that. And then with LeBron just being on the road that he's on, you know, playing with the level of play, you know, he's actually talking out more. You know, normally we look at LeBron and when he talks in his interviews, he's humble. Like over like the past couple months, he's really been bigging himself up. You know, and that's something we've never seen from LeBron. So he's obviously ticked off that people are even considering Kevin Durant to be better than him because he's accomplished so much. And, you know, he's talking about how he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. When have we ever seen LeBron campaign for himself?
Yeah.
You know, he's really ticked off and he has like a chip on his shoulder. And he's going to dominate for over the next month and a half of the season, you know, and going into the playoffs, the Heat are going to look great because of him. So, I mean, I think LeBron has it. It's his to lose.
Yeah. I mean, even going back to when Derrick Rose won his MVP, I mean, LeBron was very upset about that. I mean, that's a big award for him. It's a really telling award. I mean, he's won 4 of them. It's a lot. It's a lot to win. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment for him. But my question though is Westbrook? Does he diminish the team? Do you think he hurts the Thunder?
I don't think he hurts the Thunder in the long run. I think he just hurts Kevin Durant's MVP chances as far as stats and, you know, being able to take as many shots. I mean, Westbrook took up almost 100 more shots than Kevin Durant did last year. You know, even though Kevin Durant's
More than 100
exactly, more than
shots.
100, yeah. And Kevin Durant is a more efficient player, but you know he's unselfish. You know, sometimes that's to a fault because he's willing to let Russell Westbrook, you know, be aggressive and take more shots and do what he does on offense because it helps the team, and it makes it easier on him because Russell Westbrook forces, you know, the D to react to him because he's such a fast and explosive player. So it takes the pressure off Kevin Durant, and it might help them in the long run. I'm not saying that if the Thunder were to match up with the Heat healthy, I think the Thunder could possibly take them. But as far as like the MVP chances, I just don't. I think it's going to hurt him because Westbrook's going to come back and be his normal aggressive self. And with LeBron, I mean, LeBron is stepping up to the forefront, and D Wade and Chris Bosh, they understand that. So they've learned how to diminish their play to a good fault. You know, not necessarily like. That should like be bad players, but they know how to take a back seat now, and that's why they've won the championships. So they're willing to let LeBron take the forefront because when LeBron is playing at his best, they win championships. So LeBron is, you know what I'm saying, as long as he's healthy, I think he has it.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I
Say
mean,
so. And with, okay, so all this being said, now we just touched on the Heat-Pacers matchup, which it sounds like to me that's a matchup that you guys are really looking forward to. Could be the best of the playoffs.
It could be.
For it to happen. Now, my question to you guys now, with Kevin Durant and Westbrook back, do the Thunder get back to where they were taking on the Heat in the NBA Finals? Because you both picked the Heat, so we can say, hypothetically, the Heat are in the Finals. Do the Thunder get there and take them on?
I'm not sure. I would like to say yes, but the West is just so good. You know, I mean, it's upsets that can take place, but wouldn't be upsets because like 6, 7, and 8 are really good teams. You have Dallas, you have the Warriors down there. The Warriors are 8th in the Western Conference. That's amazing. They're a great team, great shooting team. So I would like to say the Thunder, but I can't overlook the Spurs. I mean, Greg Popovich is an amazing coach. You know, they're very deep. They got great shooting. He's resting their players right now. He's resting Tony Parker right now. Tony Parker could play, but he's resting them because he wants them to be prepared for the playoffs. They're leading the league in road wins. They're the best road team in the NBA as far as like standings go. You know, Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard have progressed as players. You know, Danny Green's become a better shooter. He's learned how to put the ball on the floor now. Kawhi Leonard, I think he's going to be a future All-Star.
So you're seeing a Finals rematch from last year right now?
I think so, and trust me, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. It's exciting as those Finals were last year. I would love to see a Heat.
No love for Doc and the Clippers?
I think they're a year ahead. I mean, I think maybe next year, but you know what I'm saying, because Blake is playing amazing right now. I want to see how if he continues this aggressive nature when Chris Paul comes back. It's the same thing with Kevin Durant and Westbrook. You know, Kevin Durant and Blake have been playing pretty much all of January without their point guards, so they've been forced to be aggressive. You know, and look at Blake. Blake's been putting up numbers, and I just don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect. Maybe Chris Paul will make it easier for him. I'm not sure. I got to see how that goes. I don't know if Darren Collison is going to be playing great now because he was playing a point guard for them now, and now he's playing backup. I don't know if he's going to keep that same aggressive nature. Things change, you know, and the playoffs are about matchups, and I've yet to see if the Clippers can play well in the half court yet. You know, and I think that they've gotten better defensively because that's what Doc does. You know, Doc, when he gets a hold of your team, you're going to be better defensively because he's going to make you play defense. But I don't know how their half court offense is going to look. At least not yet. Wait till the playoffs start. I mean, I would love you to ask me this question a month or two from now.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And now, Tommy, what about you? The Thunder, do they get to the Finals? And if not, who do you have?
no, they won't make it to the Finals. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
It's the
such
Spurs.
a smug look.
It's the Spurs. I mean, it's Greg Popovich. It's all the greatest coach in the NBA right now. He's got it all. I mean, he can do this and do that, and he's got. I mean, they're gonna do well. The Spurs are gonna do real well. My one problem with Popovich is that he's too reliant on, his love for Manu Ginobili is a little too strong. It's a little too strong. Now, Popovich, if you're watching this, Manu Ginobili is not the same player he was 3 years ago. So you got to kind of relax on him. He's a really good player, and I know what you're doing probably more than I do, so if you do whatever you want. I mean, the guy's ridiculous. Popovich is a great coach. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, Tim Duncan, the rest and all these guys. We still haven't talked. I love the best part about this, though, is that, I mean, last year we were talking about, oh, no one's talking about the Spurs. Oh, no one's talking about the Spurs. Now, like, they're kind of talking about it. Literally nobody's talking about the Spurs. I have not seen them at all talked about on ESPN, on Grantland, anything. I mean, I'm sure on Grantland because Bill Simmons does a really good job. But like this year, it's been ridiculous. Like they were really good last year. They made it to the finals. They were one shot away and one missed rebound away and one missed free throw away from being NBA champions.
And some say improved with the subtracting Gary Neal and adding Marco Bellinelli.
Marco Bellinelli, yes, the
Three-point contest winner.
three-point contest
Former
winner,
Bull.
former Chicago Bull. Difference maker.
Let's not get ahead of
Difference
ourselves.
maker.
Jason
Difference
Capono
maker.
won the three-point contest, guys.
It's Marco, but it's Marco
It's
Bellinelli.
Marco Bellinelli. He's
It's
a
Marco
much
Bellinelli.
better player than Jason. No, that's disrespectful. All right.
I mean, Gary Neal's a
Disrespect
great
Marco
player.
Bellinelli and mention him in the same sentence of Jason Capono. All right.
And look for Danny Green again too. I mean, he can shoot the lights out. I mean, he was on fire in the finals. My goodness. Yeah, all these guys. You know, you never know. I mean, Marco Bellinelli could be the new Gary Neal or the Danny Green.
I mean, that's how it is always every year for the Spurs. I mean, nobody ever talks about the Spurs.
I know, but like
They have
this
four
year, I
championships
feel like
over
this
the
year
past
it's.
decade or so.
I feel like this year, like literally, it has not been spoken about. And I
They're
think
not
it's
very
bull-
exciting.
They're not exciting. They rest guys, but like everyone's like, oh look, the Spurs. You know, nobody's talking about them, but they're in the first place in the conference. And then now they're not. And then still nobody's talking about it. And they have a good chance of going to the finals again. So don't doubt Popovich and listen to what I say.
Dark horse, the Portland Trail Blazers.
Sure.
They could be.
They are a young team, but like you know what they
They're
say
too
about
young.
young teams, they don't know any better. And when you don't know any better, that can bode well for you, like the Thunder did a couple years ago when they made it to the finals. They were very young. They were younger than they are now.
I still say if they get it though, then the Heat are going to win in 4. If they're going to destroy them.
Yeah, so it's LeBron. I mean, you can't really go against LeBron and D-Wade and Bosh, and they're just stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so understandable.
All right, well, with that, we are going to take our final break here for Sports Night. When we come back, we will have our sign-offs. Tommy, Dustin, and I will give you just the last quick things that are on our mind. So stay tuned. Don't touch the dial.
Interested in the television industry? Stop by our office in Schnabel Hall and join VUTV today.
Welcome back to Sports Night, and guys, this is the part of the show where we give you our final thoughts on what is happening in the world of sports. This is our sign-offs, and we'll start with the main Mantice, Tommy Mantice.
Thank you, Parker. I want to start and say that although the United States hockey team gave it a great shot against Canada a few days ago in the Sochi Olympics, it's too much. I mean, the United States will never beat Canada again, and I'll tell you why. The United States, once they played Russia and beat the Soviets with all those college kids in 1980, the do you believe in miracles? Yes. It's over, folks. We're not going to win a gold again once Canada has made what they have made and do what they do. It's too bad. I love watching the United States hockey team, but I'm just being real here and saying that the United States has run out of magic when it comes to United States hockey.
Johnny Manziel, the man, the myth, the legend. He has a cosign from Drake, everybody. That's all that matters. He had the NFL scouting combine not too long ago. He runs it 5'11", 207 pounds, which is not the normal quarterback height and quarterback weight, but it doesn't matter. He got the skills to pay the bills. Johnny Manziel is a stud, and he will be a Super Bowl quarterback. I promise you.
Steve Blake was traded away from the Los Angeles Lakers this past trading deadline. And Kobe Bryant was not too happy with it for everyone out there. Kobe said, and I quote, "Not cool with Steve Blake being gone at all. One of my closest teammates and a psycho competitor. Golden State picked up a gem. Hashtag smart move." So I don't know what Jim Buss is doing to everyone out there. I don't know what he does with power rumors. I don't know what he did trading away Steve Blake, one of the best spark plugs on the team. But what I can tell you is this is a team that is going to get a great lottery pick and is going to make the Lakers a better team. So don't expect the Los Angeles Lakers to pull any magic with Kobe coming back later in this season. Just expect them to be great moving forward into the future. To stay updated, log on to valpoathletics.com for all your Valpo spring and summer sports coming up. For Tommy Mantice and Dustin Levi, I'm Parker Gatewood saying, have a good night, Valpo, and watch some sports.